Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So, welcome back to Wet Fraternity. And up till now, we have completed our initial lectures on urinalysis and all of the urinary stones that form in the urine that you can see in the urine. So, now we are starting urinary casts. So, let's begin. The definition of cast is that these are microscopic clusters of particles that are wrapped in a tam horsefall mucoprotein. So, these are basically microscopic clusters of either cells or like cells, fat, or any other thing that will appear in the urine, and they get wrapped or entrapped in this protein called tam horsefall protein, and they form the casts. Basically, this mucoprotein, uh, it is secreted by epithelial cell linings of the loop of Henle, the distal tubules, and the collecting ducts. And that is why these are the regions in which the casts will form. And you should remember this name tam horse for mucoprotein because it forms the background matrix of each and every cast. So you are gonna see this in each and every cast. So you should remember this name whenever you hear casts. So there are types of casts. Basically, there is haline cast, granular cast, cellular cast, epithelial cast, fatty cast, waxy cast. And somehow, listening the names of these casts, you might have got the idea that what things are making, what particles or what cells are making these casts, and we will see their detail too. What are the factors involved in the cast formation are these six. Acid environment, mucoprotein should be present, there should be increased filtration, like increase if more fat, more cells, or like these things will filter from glomerulus into the tubules. They will get entrapped in the stem horsefall mucoprotein and form the cast. So there should be increased salts in the tubules. Cells or structures that are present in tubules will embed in the cast. So the cells or structures, the presence of cells or other structures are itself a factor for the formation of the cast. Then severe renal tubule damage, because the renal tubules will damage, more fat or like more cells will start to degenerate and start to appear in the renal tubules and get embedded in the mucoprotein. So these are basically factors that involve. Then we have what we have here is that, okay, in the previous slide you have listened, or you have seen all those names of the types of the cast. Now you should see this sequence, that the first cast that will form in the tubules will be cellular, and this cellular cast will degenerate to form coarse granular, which will degenerate to form fine granular, which will ultimately degenerate to form waxy cast. So there are two things: either the cellular cast forms and gets excreted in the urine, so you are going to see cellular cast in the urine. But if cellular cast forms and it stays in the urine for some time, it will start to degenerate into either granular cast or fine granular cast or waxy cast, and then the animal voids like his urine sometime later. So you will not gonna see cellular cast, rather you will see either these of three casts. So it will define how long the casts are staying in the urine. So, cellular, granular, and waxy cast basically represent different stages of renal tubular epithelial cells degeneration. So, if the cells degenerate, like cells are like sloughed off from the tubules, and they will first form cellular cast. Then, if the cast stays there, cells will start to degenerate. If the time for degeneration is less, and it will be coarse. If the time increases, it will convert to fine granular, and then if there will be severe degeneration, it will result in waxy cast. So cellular cast shed shortly after formed, but waxy cast retain longer in tubules prior being released. I hope you have understood this. Waxy cast indicates severe damage to those kidneys and not as common. What does this mean? That if you see waxy cast in the like horse, or sorry, in the sample of any animal, that it shows that the kidneys are damaged because it is not a common cast. You are normally not, or in less damage, if there is not a severe damage, less damage to the kidneys, you are still not gonna see waxy cast. This cast is not commonly present in the urine. You are only going to see this cast if there will be severe damage to kidneys. So that's it. And next thing is that narrower casts mostly originate from the proximal or distal tubules, and mostly wide casts originate from the collecting tubules or ducts. Like you can see the last portion will generate wide cast, and if it will be like from proximal or distal tubules, it will be narrow cast. But still, you should. It's worth noteworthy over here that the width of the cast may not indicate its origin, as proximal and distal tubular dilation can result in wide cast. Like you have any sort of like tubular injury, in situations like tubular injury, we have the proximal and distal tubules being dilated. So if the proximal and distal tubules are dilated in tubular injury, then you are going to have wide cast even from this region. So it's not 100% specific thing, but it's like a general thing, or like less commonly we say like narrow cast normally originate from proximal distal, and wide cast originate from collecting tubules or ducts. Then the theory behind the formation of cast is that there is any renal tubular injury. Because of that injury, the epithelial cells slough into lumen. These cells are caught into TAM horsefall matrix protein, and this forms cellular cast. So, as cells are like sloughed off in this protein from the tubular epithelial cells, it will form cellular cast. With time, cells start to degenerate and no longer recognize as cells. So they form granular cast. Like you can see after cellular cast, fine coarse granular cast is being formed. This will further degenerate to form fine granular cast, and ultimately waxy casts are formed, which are the final step in the formation of cast and indicate chronic tubular disease. So this is waxy cast. Fine granular casts in low numbers, they do not indicate any pathology. So if these are appearing in low number in urine sample, don't panic. It's still normal. Cellular, coarse granular, and waxy casts indicate renal pathology. If you are seeing these, then you should be like alert that it's a red flag, that something wrong is being happening. So this was basic theory behind the formation of casts, and that's all about like initial concept about cast. In the next video, in a single video, I am going to elaborate each type of the cast. So guys, come back and watch that video to see the different importance, or like properties of each single type of cast. That's all about this video. Thank you so much.